Since my last video about global events, which was about 5 or so months ago, there have been a few changes. They don't run for a whole week anymore and seem to occur more often. There are different ways of acquiring masks, plus there are quite a lot of new agents out there, so I thought this was a good time to get an updated video out. For those of you who don't know, global events are timed events tied into the game's story. These events have modifiers which change the way we interact with the enemies. There are 4 different global events which, in the past, used to run for 1 full week at a time, roughly every second month. Now, at least based on everything we know, they have been changed to seasons, with each event type being a new season, and are currently running only for a weekend at a time. At the time of recording this, these will be running for each weekend for the whole of March. At this stage we don't know how frequently these seasons will be occurring outside of the 4 this March. Each global event has 3 modifiers attached to it. Global modifiers, which are the base modifier and are active throughout the game, activity modifier, which are the second tier and include the base modifier, and lastly the group modifiers, which is the 3rd tier and include the 2 previous modifiers. These modifiers vary from buffs or nerfs to affect both ourselves or the enemy in different ways. For example, we could get damage buffs for headshots, or we could be affected by a sickness which slowly depletes our health if we get too close to our teammates or the enemies. Modifiers are also specific to each event, so the ones we'll have for one event will be different to the modifiers in the next event. As mentioned previously, the global modifiers or the base modifier are active throughout all game activities, so no matter what you do, you'll have some sort of buff helping you out. If you do feel like more of a challenge, then on certain missions and incursions you can activate the activity modifier. These missions will be highlighted in purple on your map. The last modifier can only be used if you are playing in a group, so if you want more rewards, make sure to matchmake if you don't already have a group to play with. Throughout each event we earn GE tokens, and these can only be earned during this time. Each active modifier will reward a different amount of tokens and other items, so naturally group modifiers will reward the most tokens. These tokens can be used to buy global event specific caches. The vendor for these can be found in the terminal. These are your best chance at getting classified gear set pieces. You can only hold 15,000 GE tokens at a time, so make sure you keep an eye on what you have and spend them when you're close to the cap, as you don't want to be leaving behind any of this valuable currency. Farming is a very popular activity during global events, and for good reason. You want to get as many classified gear set pieces as possible. Previously we had a whole week to farm, but with the changes we now only have 1 weekend, so you'll want to do this as much as possible. One of the most popular farming missions is Lexington Event Center, but more recently Clear Sky and a few other missions and incursions have become just as popular to run over and over again. Each global event also has its very own set of commendations. As with any other commendation you complete, you can earn either a new patch or cipher key fragments. Masks are another item you can get through completing these commendations during global events only. Previously these used to be rewarded through the global event leaderboard, but has since been changed to tie in with the commendations, which is a much better way of earning them. The leaderboard is another way to earn rewards on completion of the global event. It's not a requirement to be a part of, and because masks are no longer earned this way, many people don't bother, but you're in it automatically, so might as well go for it. The ranking system on the leaderboard is broken out into 3 tiers of points earned, with tier 3 being the highest. Getting into the leaderboard is calculated by how many points you earn in 1 hour of gameplay, so for every hour you play, the most points you've earned in one of those hours will give you a place on the leaderboard. Based on the tier you finish up in at the end of the global event will determine what rewards you get. Tier 3 being the best tier will naturally give the best rewards. One of the easiest ways to get to tier 3 is by grouping up and completing a bunch of activities as fast as possible within 1 hour. This includes some HVTs, open world bosses and more. I'll have another video out shortly giving you some tips and ideas on how to get into tier 3 relatively easily, so be sure to subscribe if you'd like to see that. So that's our quick rundown on global events. Thank you again for watching, like if you like, sub for more, and good luck agents.